Do you know, I'm getting to actually be afraid to leave them alone with that governess. She's too romantic. All wages. She has a whole book full of ghost stories, superstitions, and yellow journal horrors up her sleeve.
Oh, boo. Don't go milling around for trouble. When I was a kid, I used to get fun out of my horrors.
But I imagine you were more courageous than most of us.
Why?
Well, Nevada, the far west at the time. I should think a child would have grown so accustomed to such violent scenes.
Oh, in the mining camps. But you don't suppose my father lugged me along those prospecting trips, do you? Why, I never saw any rough scenes until I finished with school and went to live with Father in Goldfield.
And then you met Kurt.
Yes, but I don't mean he was a rough scene. He was very mild, even in those days. Do tell me what he was like at Cornell.
A romanticist. And he still is.
What? That sedate man? Never.
Don't mind him, Martha. He always was crazy.
Why did you elect to take up mining engineering at Cornell instead of a classical degree at the Yale of your fathers and brothers? Because you've been reading Bret Harte in prep school, mistaking him for a modern realist. You devoted 4 years to grooming yourself as another outcast at Poker Flat.
It was you who was hypnotized by Harte.
Next, you get a job as an engineer at that Goldfield mine, but are soon disillusioned by a laborious life where six-shooters are as rare as nuggets. You try prospecting. You find nothing but different varieties of pebbles. But it is necessary to your nature to project romance into those stones, so you go in strong for geology. And as a geologist, you become a slave to the romance of the rocks. This is but a step from there to anthropology, the last romance of all. And there you find yourself, because there's no further to go. You win fame as the most proficient of young skull hunter, and wander over the face of the globe, digging up bones like an old dog.
The man is mad.
Mad? What an accusation. Coming from one who's even now considering setting forth on a 5-year excavating contest in search of the remains of our gibbering ancestor, the first man.
I'm not considering any longer. I've decided to go.
When did you decide?
I only really came to a decision this morning. It's a case of got to go, Big. It's a tremendous opportunity. It would be a crime for me to neglect it.
And a big honor, too, isn't it, to be chosen for such a large affair?
I guess it's just that they want all the men with considerable practical experience they can get. There are bound to be hardships, and they know I'm hardened to them. We haven't roughed it in the queer corners for the last 10 years without knowing how it's done, haven't we?
No, Kurt.
And this expedition, Big, is the largest thing of its kind ever undertaken. From the standpoint of anthropology, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, and now we have the missing link.
Darn your Barnum and Bailey circus lingo, Big. This isn't a thing to mock at. I should think the origin of man should be something that would appeal to even your hothouse imagination.
And you hope to dig up our first ancestor.
It's a chance in a million, but I believe we may, myself, at least find authentic traces of him so that we can reconstruct his life and habits.
And you'll travel with him?
Yes, I've always been with him.
You bet she has. Martha's more efficient than a whole staff of assistants and secretaries. She knows more about what I'm doing than I do half the time. Well, I guess I'll go in and get some work done.
Do you need me now, Kurt?
Well, I guess if you two want to work, just shoot me out.
No, I couldn't deprive Big of an audience for his confessions of a fond parent.
And now look who is mocking at something you know nothing about.
I've forgotten.
I suppose it's hard for any of you back here to realize that Kurt and I ever had any children.
Yes.
2, both girls. We had a nice little house in Goldfield. We were very respectable home folks then. The wandering came later, after. It was a Sunday in winter when Kurt and I had gone visiting some friends. The nurse girl fell asleep or something, and the children sneaked out in their underclothes and played in the snow. Pneumonia set in, and a week later they were both dead.
Good heavens.
We were real lunatics for a time. And then when we calmed down enough to realize how things stood with us, we swore we'd never have children again to steal away their memory. It wasn't what you thought, romanticism that set Kurt wandering and me with him. It was a longing to lose ourselves, to forget. He flung himself with all his power into every new study that interested him. He couldn't keep still, mentally or bodily, and I followed.
And that keeps driving him on now.
No. He's found himself. His work has taken the place of the children.
And with you too.
Well, I've helped all I could. His work has me in it, I like to think. And I have him.
I think people are foolish to stand by such an oath forever. Children can be quite a comfort in one's old age, I've tried to find.
Old age?
Yeah, a woman is only as old as she looks, and you are not yet 30.
Well, after that nice remark, I'll have to forgive you everything, won't I?
Hello, Martha. Hello, Big.
Hello.
I walked in regardless. Hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all.
I must say it sounded serious. I heard you tell Big you'd forgive him everything, Martha. Letting yourself in for a large proposition.
The past has never passed for a dog with a bad name, Helen. If you want to reward my truthfulness, Miss Jayson, help me take the kids for an airing in the car. I know it's an imposition, but they've come to expect it. I will get them and pick you up here. Is that all right?
It's fine.
I'll run then. Goodbye, Lily.
You were forgetting, weren't you?
What?
You'd invited the whole family over here to tea this afternoon.
Oh,
At the advance guard.
I did. How stupid.
Do you like Bigelow?
Yes, very much. And Kurt thinks the world of him.
Oh, Kurt is the last one to be bothered by anyone's morals. Kurt and I are the unconventional ones of the family. The trouble with Bigelow, Martha, is that he was too careless to conceal his sins. And that won't go down in this Philistine small town. No, you have to hide and be a fellow hypocrite. Or they revenge themselves on you. Bigelow didn't. He flaunted his love affairs in everyone's face. It's I used to admire him for it. Well, no one exactly blamed him in their secret hearts. His wife was a terrible creature. No man could have endured her. After her death, he suddenly acquired a bad conscience. He'd never noticed the children before. Didn't even know their names. And then presto, he's about in our midst acting like a wet hen with a brood of ducks. The bore, you ask me.
I think it's very fine with him.
His reform is too sudden. He's joined the hypocrites, I think.
I'm sure he's no hypocrite. When you see him with the children...
Oh, I know he's a good actor. Many have been in love with him. Well, you'll be very furious if I'm very frank with you, will you?
No, of course not, Ellie.
Well, I'm the bearer of a message from the Jayson family.
For me?
I had nothing to do with it. I'm only a victor record of their misgivings. Well, Father thinks, Brother John and wife, Sister Esther and husband, all think that you have been rather unwisely intimate with this same Bigelow.
Unwisely intimate. You sure are funny people.
No, we're not funny. We'd be all right if we were. On the contrary, we're really dull and deadly. Bigelow really does have a villainous rep for philandering. But of course, you didn't know that.
No, I didn't. And I don't care to know it now.
I told them you wouldn't relish their silly advice. Oh, I know that their narrow, small-town ethics are stupid as much as you do, Martha. I sympathize with you, indeed I do, but I have to live with them. And so for comfort's sake, I've had to make compromises. And you're going to live in their midst too, aren't you? Well, then you'll have to make compromises too, if you'll want any peace.
I refuse to take it seriously. How anyone could think... It's too absurd.
Well, what set them going was Biggs being around such an awful lot the weeks that Kurt was in New York. Just after you'd settled down here, Oh, you must acknowledge he was very, very much present then, Martha?
Oh, but it was on account of his children. They were...
Oh, fight the good fight, Martha. You have all my best wishes. Oh! I wish I had something worth fighting for. I'm out of college, I have no more occupation. All I do is read book after book. The only live people are the ones in the books, I find. The only live life.
You're lonely. That's what, Lily.
Don't pity me, Martha, or I'll join the enemy.
I'm not. But I'd like to help you if I could. Have you ever thought of marrying?
Martha. How banal. Well, the men I see are enough to banish the thought if I ever had it.
Marriage isn't only the man. It's children. Wouldn't you like to have children?
Wouldn't you?
But Lily,
Oh, I know it wasn't practicable, as long as you elected to wander around with Kurt. But why not now, when you've definitely settled down here? I think that would solve things all around, don't you? If you could present father with a grandson, well, I'm sure he'd fall on your neck. He feels piqued at the John Nestor families because they've had a run of girls. Man, Jayson, Uncle Davidson would weep with joy. You're 38, aren't you, Martha?
yes.
Then why don't you? Before it's too late? You won't want to tag along with Kurt to the ends of the earth forever, will you? No, it's time for both of you to rest on your laurels. Why can't Kurt keep on with what he's doing now? Staying at home and writing books?
Kurt isn't that kind. The actual work, the romance of it, that's his life.
But if he goes and you have to stay, you'll be, well, lonesome and alone.
Horribly. I don't know what I'll do.
And why? Why? Think, Martha, if Kurt knew that was to happen, well, he'd want to stay here with you. I'm sure he would.
No. Kurt has grown to dislike children. They remind him of ours. He adored them so, you see. He's never become reconciled.
If you confronted him with the fact, he'd be reconciled to it soon enough, and happy in the bargain.
Do you really think so?
You, Martha, I can tell by the way you've talked that you'd like to.
Yes. I never thought I'd ever want to again, but lately, the last years, I felt, and then we came to live here, and I saw all around me homes and children, and
I know, then you must. That's all there is to it. If you want my advice, you go right ahead and don't tell Kurt until it's a fact he'll have to learn to life willy-nilly. You'll find in his inmost heart he'll be tickled to death.
yes, I confess I had thought of that. In spite of my fear,
My Martha, what?
now, or shall we wait for the others?
Oh, let's wait. They ought to be here any moment.
Just think, Martha was forgetting you were coming. She was going motoring with Bigelow.
So where is Kurt, Martha?
I'm hard at work in a study. I'm afraid he's there for the day.
Oh, still plugging away at his book, I suppose. Well, I hope it will be a big success.
As big a success as the brief you're writing to restrain the citizens from preventing the traction company robbing them, eh, Mark? Right, Uncle?
What you need to bring you down to earth is a husband and the responsibility of children. Every woman who is able should have children. Don't you believe that, Martha Jayson?
Yes, I do, Mr. Davidson.
You must call me uncle, my dear. All the Jaysons do.
Thank you, Uncle.
Why don't the others come, Donna? I'm dying for my tea.
Hello, everybody. Martha, I don't want to interrupt you.
You want my help?
Yes, but not for long. Just a few notes before I forget.
You'll excuse me for a few moments, all of you.
Why doesn't Kurt hire a secretary? This is no work for his wife.
A paid secretary could hardly give the sympathy and understanding Kurt needs, Mr. Uncle. And she would have to study for years, as I have done, in order to take my place. If I am not back by the time the others arrive, will you see about tea, Lily?
Oh, sure. I love to serve drinks. If I was a man, I'd be a bartender in Mexico or Canada.
I'll be with you again in a minute.
Even people touched by a smattering of science seem to get rude, don't they?
I've heard much silly talk about this being an age of free women. I've always said it's Tommy Rod. She is an example. She's more of a slave to Kurt's hobbies than any of my generation were to anything but their children. Where are her children?
Well, they died, Uncle, as children have a bad habit of doing. However, I wouldn't despair if I were you.
What do you mean, Lily? What are you so mysterious about? Huh? What did she say? What?
Well, here comes the rest of our grand fleet. Now I'll have my tea.
Goodness, Lily is trying on the nerves.
Well, the gang's all here. Looks like the League of Nations. Listen, let's get down to cases. I want to know why I've been summoned here. I'm due for tournament mixed doubles at the casino at 5. Where's the tea?
Oh, here's tea.
It seems it would be more to the point to inquire as to where our host is. Yes, and where's Kurt?
Working at his book. He called Martha to take notes on something.
Yes, and she left us as if she were glad of the excuse.
She knows how much Kurt depends on her. We don't.
Martha seems to be a model wife.
How well you say what you don't mean, John. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat. But I'm forgetting to do the honors. Tea, everybody? Tea, everybody.
Stop fooling, Lily. Let's get to our monsters. Did you talk with Martha?
I did, sir.
What did she say?
She said you could all go to the devil. No, not those words. Martha is a perfect lady. But she did make it plain she would thank you to mind your own business.
And just imagine, she'd even forgotten that she'd asked us here this afternoon, and she was going motoring with Bigelow.
With his 3 children, too, don't forget.
They have become such well-behaved and intelligent children, they say.
You better let Martha train yours for a while, John. I'm sure she'd improve their manners. Though, of course, she couldn't give them any intelligence.
So, it's Bigelow you're up in the air about. Deuce, you say?
Oh, look at our soldier boy home from the wars, getting serious about the family honor. It's too bad this is a rough and untutored country.
this wrangling is getting us nowhere. You say she is resentful about our well-meant words, the wise?
Surely she must realize that some consideration is due to the position she occupies in Bridgetown as Kurt's wife.
Martha is properly unimpressed by big frogs and tiny puddles.
Oh, the idea. She takes a lot upon herself. The daughter of a wild western coal miner.
Gold miner, uncle.
It makes no difference. A common miner.
Just before the others came, Lily, you gave out some hints. They were very definite hints, I should say. What did you mean?
Perhaps I shouldn't have. It's not my secret. Shall I tell you? Yes, I can't help but tell you. Martha is going to have a son.
A son? Kurt's son?
A son?
Lily's kidding you. How could she know it's a son? Unless she's a clairvoyant.
Yes. How stupid.
I am clairvoyant in this case. Allah is great, and it will be a son, if only to make you and Mark burst with envy among your daughters.
Oh, Lily!
Keep still for a moment, Lily, for God's sake. This is no subject to joke about, remember?
Martha told me. I know that.
And does Kurt know this?
No, not yet. Martha's been afraid to tell him.
Ah, well, that explains matters. You know, I asked Kurt some time ago, and he said it was impossible.
Impossible. What a funny thing to say. And why is Martha afraid to tell him, Lily?
It's all very simple. When their two died years ago, they said they would never have one again. And Martha thinks Kurt is still haunted by their memory and is afraid he will resent another as an intruder. I told her that was all foolishness and that the child was the one thing to make Kurt settle down for good. At home, here, and write his books.
Yes, I believe that myself. Well, this is fine news.
Still, it was her duty to tell Kurt, don't you think? I don't see how she could be afraid of Kurt. For those reasons.
Why, Kurt's the biggest hearted, kindest.
I wonder how long she's known this.
Oh, 2 months, she said.
2 months? Wait, what do you mean? John, wait. Oh, 2 months. Yes, but before that, Kurt was away in New York almost a month. And Bigelow, he was here an awful lot. Ha!
So, you got someone to say it for you, like you always do. Poison mind.
The honor of the family's at stake.
Oh, shh!
How do you do, everybody? So sorry I wasn't here when you came. I hope Lily made proper excuses for me. I hope Lily, Oh, glad to know I wasn't missed.
Actually, we were talking about you. Or rather, we were listening to Lily talk about you.
About me?
Yes, about how devoted you are to Kurt's work.
Oh, but you see, I consider it my work too. I've helped him with it for so long now.
And how is Kurt's book coming, Martha?
Finally, thank you. The book will cause quite a stir, I believe. It will make the name of Jayson famous in the big world outside of Ritchie.
The name of Jayson.
Uncle Edward.
Uncle means it's world famous already, Martha. John was once a substitute on the Yale freshman soccer team, you know. If it wasn't for his weak shins, he would have made the team fancy.
Lily wins! Heavens, I'll have to hustle. I'm due at the casino. I'm sorry I can't stay.
So glad you came. Do come again anytime. We keep open house, you know.
Delighted.
Western fashion.
Delighted.
Wait a second. I'm coming with you. Whew! I need some fresh air.
Oh, thank goodness she's gone. What a vixen! What would you do if you had a sister like that, Martha?
I'd love her and try to understand her.
No, she's a bad ally to rely on. This side of the fence one day and then the next.
Is that why you advised her to become a lawyer?
Oh, now. That remark must be catalogued as catty.
seems to be in the Bridgetown atmosphere. I never was, not the least bit, in the open air.
Oh, Bridgetown isn't that bad, Martha. Once you get used to us.
It's one of the most prosperous and wealthy cities in the U.S., and that means the world nowadays.
That isn't what Martha means. I know what she's thinking about us, and I'm not sure that I don't agree with her. Partly. She feels that we're so awfully strict about certain things, and it must be so different in the far west. I suppose it's just so much freer.
Then you believe broad-mindedness and clean thinking are a question of locality. I can't agree with you. I know nothing of the present Far West, not having lived there for 10 years, but Kurt and I have lived in the Far East. And I'm sure he'd agree with me in saying that Chinese ancestor worship is far more dignified than ours. After all, you know, theirs is religion, not snobbery. Ah, that must be Mr. Bigelow. I suppose Lily told you I had an engagement to go motoring with him, so sorry I must leave. But I'm like Lily, I need fresh air. I'll call Kurt. Kurt, come out. It's important. Well, he'll be out when he's through swearing.
Of all the damn change she shows her breeding, I must say. How rude and insulting.
I will never set foot in this house again.
Now, Uncle, do keep your head. We must have no scandal of any sort. Remember, there are servants about. Do sit down.
Yes, one must make allowances for one in her condition.
Remember her condition, Uncle.
Yes, and we mustn't forget her condition. Where's Martha? What's the important thing she called me out for?
Why, to play host, you big bear. You don't think we came to see you too?
Martha had to leave us to go motoring with Mr. Bigelow.
And the 3 children.
Big in his eternal kids. Well, what the deuce? I must be getting selfish to grudge Martha her bit of fresh air. You don't know what it means to be outdoor animals like us. If we have to be pent up. We're used to living with the sky for a roof. Did Martha tell you I definitely decided to go on the 5-year expedition?
Kurt, you're not.
And leave Martha here alone for 5 years.
Yes, you can't take Martha with you this time, you know.
No? What makes you so sure of that? I'll let you in on a little secret. Only you must promise not to breathe a word of it to Martha until tomorrow. Tomorrow is her birthday. And this is a surprise I've saved for her. I have been intriguing my dads for the past month to get permission for Martha to go with me. It was a difficult operation because women are supposed to be barred, you see. But I have succeeded. The letter came this morning. I know she's given up hope. I suppose that's what's been making her act so out of sorts lately.
But would you persist in going alone if you knew that it was impossible for her?
I can't imagine it without her. You people have no idea what a chump she's been. You can't believe that a woman could be so much that in a life of that kind. How I have grown to depend on her. The 1,000 details. She attends to them all. She remembers everything. I'd be lost without her. I wouldn't know how to start. We could both go, thank heaven.
No, she cannot go, and it is your duty.
Oh, come, Uncle, that's all nonsense. You don't understand the kind of woman Martha is.
I have said my last word. Go your own road and work your own ruin.
I think I'll change my togs and go for a walk. Excuse me for a second, I'll be right back.
Her act's so funny, doesn't he? Oh, he certainly appeared put out when he heard that she'd gone motoring with Deane.
This dislike of the very mention of children. It isn't like Kurt, not one bit.
There's something rotten in Denmark somewhere.
This family will yet live to regret having accepted a stranger.
Oh, come now. This is all only suspicion. There is no evidence. You have no case. And remember, the defendant is innocent until you have proven her guilty.
Well, if I were sure it would all blow over without any open scandal, I'd offer up a prayer of thanks.